hidden AI agent beating ChatGPT that's faster, smarter, and 10x cheaper. OpenAI literally spent $1 billion on their agent. Now watch this tiny startup crush them in every way with only 12 million. The proof is undeniable. So here's the plan and exactly what I'm going to go through today. How OpenAI is getting deep-seeked again, which is funny that that's actually a phrase. I'm going to go over 20 sales and marketing agent use cases that you can use instantly with what I'm going to show you. And at the end of this video, you're going to know exactly how to access these agents and have them run automatically while you're sleeping. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Staley. I've helped thousands of sales and marketing executives in PE, VC, and publicly traded companies transform with AI in less than 60 days. Okay, so now we're going to get into it. I'm going to show you a little bit of an understanding of what I mean that OpenAI is getting deep-seeked again. For those of you who don't know, OpenAI essentially has been really under fire lately by some of the open source providers or smaller providers that are tackling cases that they put out or technology that they put out in the market. So just to give you context, OpenAI has 18 billion in funding. Convergence, which actually created this tool called Proxy, has 12 million, which is less than 0.067% of OpenAI's budget. Now, what you might be thinking is, I'm already set up with ChatGPT, but you're going to be really surprised with what we see here. So let me share my screen and I'm going to walk you through what I am talking about and exactly the details behind it. Okay, so you're not going to want to miss this one. All right, so in this screen here, what you're going to see is Farham on X, or X, not Twitter anymore. I still get stuck on that for some reason. He talks about how this tiny London startup was built faster. He actually mentioned the idea that they just got deep-seeked again. So borrowed that from him, great term. And now what he does is he actually walks through the details, which is a really good thread about Convergence AI. And he talks about how OpenAI is struggling with it. One of the cool things about it is if you look at this component, I'm going to make this bigger so you can see this. It talks about the difference in rating of Claude versus Rudder H, Agent E, Operator, and then Convergence. Okay, so Convergence is what we're going over today, which actually created the tool that I'm going to review and show with you briefly. Now, what you're going to see here is it really narrows in on speed and performance. Now, I tested this, and I'm going to show you over the weekend Operator pretty extensively, impressed it, and it kept bogging down. I'm going to show you the comments it sent back to me, which were hilarious from my perspective. But the real interesting thing, and I think this is smart, what they did is they did side-by-side comparisons of how fast basically Proxy would create or complete it versus what OpenAI Operator did. Very interesting. So this one they had chicken recipes, basketball news, which is something that you can use for sports or business as well. It goes through the TripAdvisor search, and as you can see in real time, you're going to see actually what happens in this. I'm going to make this bigger, and as you can see here, it's loading, so it's taking a second here. But as you can see, I'm going to fast forward this, so you can see how much quicker this got completed than the other side of it, right? So an OpenAI Operator. And I'm going to walk through a little bit deeper in terms of OpenAI Operator. It talks about just different examples and how much faster it was. The cool thing about Proxy is it's actually free and you can try it for free. Now, why I was saying it's 10x more expensive, in order to use this with OpenAI, you need to use Operator, okay? So what I'm going to talk about right there is if we look at this, shrink this down. So if we look at Operator is right here. This is an example. This is from OpenAI, and it really talks about, like, with this, you actually need the $200 Pro plan to operate this. So you can't use this for free. Whereas if we shift over and we look at what Convergence is doing, is Convergence basically allows you to try it for free and have examples. Now I'm going to break down these examples in a second, but one of the things I wanted to share with you real quick is some of the use cases that I thought were absolutely amazing. So let me go through this. Now what you're going to see here, I'm going to share this back with you on the screen, but you're going to see that effectively these are the use cases. And this is pretty compelling because what you're going to see are sales use cases and marketing. I promise you at the beginning of the video, I'm going to go through 20 of these in total. So if you look at this, this is one of the capabilities of it where you could set it, forget it, so it runs while you're sleeping. In this situation, we have automated lead generation and data collection, CRM data entry and updates, project research and qualification. So what it's really doing is it's like, think of a browser where you can tell a human what to do, and it's going to go through and act on this like a person would, and they click through the different examples, panes, automated follow-up emails, sales proposal assembly. I thought this was pretty interesting. I don't know if I would leave an agent to do this, but pulling various data sources, internal reports, contract data entry, social selling integration. I think there's probably a lot of good use cases on social selling, where effectively in this area, you'll be able to pull up different examples of, or basically top performing posts on YouTube or other areas like that. I've even seen messages where people will DM back and forth with an agent on Facebook Messenger. Okay, now here's another example of Facebook, or actually B2B marketing use cases. We got content research and curation. I think OpenAI's deep research is like the boss at this, so I wouldn't necessarily delegate this to operator. Competitive marketing analysis, you could look at sites like Trustpilot or G2, right, to get in that agentic structure, to look at sentiment and pain across those. You can even look across social media like Reddit for that as well. We got automated SEO and website analysis, campaign management, event registration for webinars, content distribution and amplification. I see once these get really good, you could basically have a tool like this publish across maybe 5, 6, 7, 10 different social media platforms based on what you created. So I see a big opportunity there. Digital ad monitoring, I've seen examples of this where you could look at what your competitors are doing in terms of their ads and then aggregate it, and then brand reputation sentiment monitoring. So those are the 20 use cases. Now let's get into the tools. These are the tools that you're gonna, and I promise you, have the capability to use as a no-code example by the end of this video. Now, what you're gonna see here are, this is the two examples of the interfaces. So we have Convergence, which is, like I said, this is effectively by, this is the name of the company, and they have a tool called Proxy. Now, OpenAI has Operator. This is only the $200 a month plan. If you decide to purchase this plan past the freemium, it's $20 a month. So you have $20 a month on the left versus $200 on the right. However, at the same time with Operator, you do get deep research. So huge bonus there. Now, if we look at these side by side, these are the examples. So you can see what the output's like. Okay, and I want to go through this because this is very interesting. So if we look at this output side by side, what you're going to see here is I gave them literally the same exact prompt, something simple. And what I've noticed with these agents, these operator agents, is you want to give a specific website that you want them to target. You want it to be accurate. Otherwise, they could spin out of control and go a lot of different areas. And I think giving the messages and bullet points is very simple and easy to do. Now, where I think Convergence or Proxy, which is the product, has a great advantage over ChatGPT is not just control, but if you look at this, what you're going to see here is I have the same prompt as you can see, and then I'm summarizing the top 3 Hugging Face daily papers. For those who don't know Hugging Face, that's effectively a open source model site that contains a lot of the open source models. So what happens is it goes down and it basically goes through and starts to look through it. And I'm not going to do this in real time because it takes some time. It gives good summaries, as you can see here. They also give good summaries. Pretty simple, pulls the same exact papers, which means they were both good at identifying the top papers. However, one of the things that's really interesting is, like, if I want to click on here, I could start this up again, and here I could do the same thing. But what you're going to see is I could save this task if I want to here, or I could automate this task here. So the interesting thing about it is if I want to automate this, is basically I could create this on repeat. So this is where it becomes highly valuable and where it could run while you're sleeping. I could give it a date, a name, a start date and time. I could say how often we want it and what the time zone it's in, right? So you have that capability here as well, so that I could save this and have this run on an ongoing basis. That's another example that you could do, or change that to a task so that it operates in the background, okay? So I'm gonna go back. The other key example though that I think is really interesting is if you look at basically Convergence over here, I can actually scroll through and look at where it went and what it did. As you can see, there's 6 different examples or websites that this looked in, and I could go across all those, see exactly what it did from a historic perspective with the actual screenshots it used. I cannot do that on OpenAI's Operator. So I think that's one of the areas where I could see OpenAI including this into their solution so that this agent has that capability because OpenAI is really good at leveraging those details. Okay, so I want to wrap things up because I want to keep this video tight, but what you might be thinking is like, all right, I'm already using ChatGPT, I have everything dialed in, However, if you look at $20 a month versus $200 a month, big difference if you want to run those tasks in the background and have autonomous agents doing this. Now, I've also looked at trying to do this manually with different no-code agents, and one of the things that I run into is there's a lot of complexity and a lot of friction to build this. So we're at the starting point, and I think it's going to be okay right now, although I was really impressed on the limited testing I did with Proxy by Convergence. However, ChatGPT has been the GOAT in terms of crushing the best use cases over time. So even if they're a little bit behind right now, my 2 cents is they're gonna get back, okay? So here's what I would say. If you like this video, I have an agent playlist that I created for non-coders, and one of the top performing ones that you might have missed is I break down 3 agents that are doing the work of the $84 billion industry. So if you've not checked that out, check that out below. And then if you want to weekly stay in touch with me and understand what's going on in the world of AI with bleeding edge opportunities, basically I have a free resource for you down below where basically you get access to AI frameworks and tools and examples that I go through for free along with prompts so you can instantly start using this in real time. So appreciate you checking out the video now, and I will see you on the next video as well.